My friend showed up at my house ready to kick me out so she could move in with my husband, but her smug confidence vanished the moment I said just one sentence. My name is Amara, and until a week ago, I thought my life was perfect. I didn't think it was the best in the world or without problems, but it was very good to me. Good enough is perfect, because as you'll see in a moment, life can get worse very quickly. The person who has caused me so much pain is my husband, Alex, whom I've been married to for 2 years. Before all of this, I was very happy with him, and we rarely had problems. He was a good boyfriend and an even better husband, which made me feel confident that I'd be with him until one of us passed away. But it turns out I was the only one who believed we were meant to be together, because my husband clearly thinks he has the right to have other relationships. I don't mean that seriously. What I mean is that, obviously, he's kept what he's been doing a secret, and I only found out by accident. Believe me, I love my husband a lot and haven't given him any reason to cheat on me. I thought we were both very happy in our marriage, and since we both earn well, we also didn't have financial problems. So the question on my mind now is he doing this because he wants some excitement in his life, or is he truly bored of me? I don't know. It's something only he can answer. Before explaining further, I need to tell you about someone important to this story, Cassie. Cassie is someone you might call my childhood friend. She's someone I've known since I was a kid, and sometimes we still hang out together occasionally. But all of this isn't by choice because, honestly, I don't like her much. Yes, she's one of the most jealous and petty people I've ever met. The surprising part is that she's always been like this. From the moment I understood what good friends and bad friends were, I knew she was someone I didn't need to keep close. So I've always kept her at a distance, while she's always tried to get closer to me. The problem with her was that she was always jealous of a lot of people and showed that envy even toward me. She always wanted what I had and couldn't stand seeing me get something better than her. She was bad at hiding her emotions and always got mad when I asked her to stop doing those things. Now, I know the most obvious question here, right? If I had so many problems with her from the start, why is she still my friend? Well, the answer is very simple. At some point, I realized she was a toxic friend who would worsen my life, but I could never completely cut her off. That's because her parents and mine have been friends for a long time, so she's like a family member or a family friend or even part of my family to my parents. So I couldn't just stop seeing her because she was always around at gatherings and that sort of thing. I also couldn't tell my parents that I hated her. Sometimes I felt bad because she acted like she genuinely cared, but even though I couldn't cut her off, it wasn't like we had a real friendship. I've never been the kind of person to have many friends, and since she's close to my family, she stayed in my life. Right now, I only have about 3 friends I consider true friends. One of them is my best friend Molly, who I'll talk about in a moment. As I mentioned, she's pretty much the same person even now, and I just try to avoid her as best as I can. But as you know, since she's almost family, I really can't avoid her. We have a tolerable relationship, but I'm sure she's always been a little jealous of me since I ended up doing bigger and better things in life than she did. To be completely honest with you, yes, I have a better job and got married after finding what I thought was a great man. Meanwhile, she works in a small job and is always in and out of relationships, which isn't surprising if you knew her. I knew she didn't like seeing me do well in life, but I had no idea she was so jealous that she tried to destroy my marriage or take my place. I'm sure by now you've figured out what's happening, but if you haven't, here it is. I discovered that my husband has been cheating on me with Cassie. She's literally the worst person he could have done this with. He's completely ruining our marriage, and I don't know what he or she hopes to gain from this affair. Let me tell you how I found out. Over the past few months, I noticed Alex had been acting a little distant. At first, I didn't think much of it. He told me work was stressful, and he'd started taking on overtime. Since we both had demanding jobs, I thought that maybe the pressure was getting to him, so I didn't press him about it. After all, we'd built a relationship based on trust. If he said everything was fine, then I believed him. But one afternoon, I received a call from my friend Rachel. She was cheerful as usual, and her first question caught me off guard. Amara, are you having lunch with Alex today? I just saw him at that Italian place downtown, and I thought you might be there too. My stomach dropped. Alex hadn't mentioned anything about going out for lunch, and as far as I knew, he was supposed to be at work. I told Rachel I wasn't with him, but her next words sent my mind racing. Oh, well, he's here with someone. I think it's Cassie. Cassie? My so-called friend? It couldn't be. After hanging up, I sat frozen for a few minutes, trying to process what Rachel had just told me. My instinct screamed that something was wrong, but I tried to convince myself that there had to be a logical explanation. Maybe they ran into each other and decided to catch up. But as much as I wanted to believe that, something deep inside me told me I was lying to myself. I decided to see for myself. I left work early and drove straight to the restaurant. When I got there, my worst fears were confirmed. Through the window, I saw Alex and Cassie sitting across from each other, laughing and leaning in close. It wasn't the kind of interaction you'd expect from two platonic friends. The way Alex looked at her, warm, familiar, and almost affectionate, made my blood boil. I thought about storming in and confronting them right there, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Instead, I took a picture of them through the window and drove home, my mind racing. How could this be happening? How long had it been going on? And more importantly, why? That night, I couldn't sleep. Alex came home late, claiming he'd had to stay late at the office. His lie was so effortless, it made me feel sick. I wanted to scream at him, but I didn't. Instead, I called Molly the next morning and told her everything. Molly was furious. "That snake," she spat. "And Alex? I can't believe he'd do this to you. You don't deserve this, Amara." She insisted on coming over to help me figure out what to do. "You need proof," she said firmly. "If you confront them now, they'll just deny it. Let's find out exactly what's going on before you make your move." Together, we came up with a plan. Molly helped me set up hidden cameras and audio recorders around the house. We placed one in the living room and another in the kitchen, areas where Alex and I usually spent time together. If Cassie came over, there was a good chance they'd talk there. For the next week, I went about my daily routine, pretending everything was normal. But inside, I was falling apart. Every time Alex left the house, I wondered if he was going to see her. Every time he smiled at me or kissed me goodbye, I felt a wave of anger and sadness. When the week was up, Molly came over to help me review the footage. Watching it felt like reliving a nightmare. There they were, Alex and Cassie, talking and laughing like they had no care in the world. But the worst part was what they were talking about. In one recording, Alex mentioned wanting to take care of things before moving forward with their plan. Cassie asked him if he thought I'd agree to sign over the house. "She trusts me," Alex replied. "She'll do it." My hands trembled as I listened. My house, my grandmother's house, wasn't just a place to live. It was a piece of my family's legacy. And now, Alex was planning to manipulate me into giving it up so he and Cassie could sell it and run away together. At that moment, my sadness turned into rage. They thought they could play me like a fool, but they were wrong. With Molly's help, I devised a new plan, one that would turn the tables on both of them. We drafted fake documents that looked like an official deed transfer, giving Alex ownership of the house. The plan was to make him believe he'd won, only to reveal the truth when it was too late for him to do anything about it. I also reached out to my parents, Alex's parents, and even Cassie's family, sharing the evidence with them. They were horrified, especially Alex's parents. His mother broke down in tears, apologizing to me for her son's behavior. 2 weeks later, Cassie showed up at my house with her suitcases. "I'm moving in," she said smugly, as if she owned the place. Before I could respond, Alex walked in. He looked surprised to see her there, but quickly recovered. "Amara, we need to talk," he said, his tone filled with false regret. "I think it's time we go our separate ways." "Cassie and I—" "Save it," I interrupted. "I know everything." Their smug expressions vanished. I pulled out the fake deed and waved it in Alex's face. "You think I'd actually give you this house? It's still mine." At that moment, the front door opened and our families walked in. Alex and Cassie looked like they wanted to disappear. Alex's father immediately berated him, calling him a disgrace. Cassie's mother, meanwhile, demanded to know how she could betray someone who had always treated her like family. After the confrontation, Alex moved in with a friend, his reputation in tatters. His parents disowned him, and he lost his job after his boss found out about the affair. Cassie didn't fare much better. Her family cut ties with her, and she struggled to find work after being fired from her job. As for me, I filed for divorce. Alex got nothing, thanks to the prenuptial agreement we'd signed. I kept the house, and with Molly's help, I redecorated, erasing every trace of Alex from my life. Months later, I'm finally at peace. Therapy has helped me heal, and I've started dating again. Molly remains my rock, and I've learned to appreciate the people who truly care about me. Alex and Cassie are no longer my concern. The last I heard, they'd broken up, proof that their relationship was built on lies and deceit. I don't know what the future holds, but for now, I'm focused on rebuilding my life and finding happiness on my own terms.